Hi guys, Zasmo here, and today I'm gonna go over the Heist patch notes. I'm gonna quickly go over the things that I am less interested in and go in detail about the things that I am very interested in. So this is just talking about the Heist Challenge League, major new content and features. We have a new skill, Blazing Salvo. So this is the first thing that I'm really interested in. The Blazing Salvo is such a good mechanically skill, like the mechanics of it, how it works is so promising that I think it's going to be really amazing, and I might even risk just starting with it from the very beginning. You can get it at level 12, so I can use mines and instead of arc just get Blazing Salvo, and my spec will not change much. I will show you later in the path of building that is updated now what the build path is for the build that I'm going to be going for. But I think Blazing Salvo is very promising. The reason why I love Blazing Salvo so much is that the effectiveness of added damage will be really good for single target because of the overlapping AoE. The closer the mine is placed to the target that it's shooting at, so if you're placing it right under the boss, it's going to quickly hit with all the projectiles pretty much on the boss, so it's going to be doing a really good single target damage. And if there are adds further away, then it's going to automatically target, like as you're clearing maps or as you're clearing zones, it's going to automatically target the monsters, making it better than hand casting, than self casting, I think, because you have a certain reaction time that you're gonna be a subject to as a human being that automatic targeting is not. And even though, yeah, you can kind of shoot ahead of targets when they're running toward you, that's like one advantage. But I think mines are gonna be doing a really good job with the Blazing Salvo. Like the targeting, the further the target is from the source of the Blazing Salvo, the more it spreads. But that means also you can throw the mine at monsters and then deal more damage to them because it spreads less. So it seems like an incredibly strong skill for mines. And the only thing is that it's a fire damage, so it's going to be slightly different. However, the added benefit of that is that you can just get a regular Calm's Heart on a miner now and use the Blazing Salvo, and you will have good clear, good single target. The extra up to 50% or 40% increased fire damage on Calm's Heart will help a lot. And new Calm's Heart is very easy to run because of course you're going to be running Tremor Rod early on. So I feel like this is going to be an amazing skill, and I'm definitely excited for it. I think I'm pretty much like guaranteed to start with it, and it shouldn't be a problem to get to maps very quickly with it. And then they're adding the Void Sphere. I don't know what's the point of this really. Your target location reduce physical and chaos damage, pulling enemies toward the center. Enemies at the center have less movement speed. Okay, but it sucks them in, and yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like the gameplay, I don't know, the gameplay would have to slow so insanely for skills like that to be useful that I don't feel like this is gonna be good. Crackling Lance, that's a very cool looking skill. Deals lightning damage to enemies in an area in front of the caster. Repeated casts intensify the damage dealt and narrow the angle of enemies it hits. It looks really awesome. It feels like, dude, maybe even if it's not channeling, maybe even it could be used with mines or totems. Maybe Crackling Lance totems could be something good. It seems like a skill with so much potential. I really like how it looks like. It seems really good. New skill, Frost Shield. Creates Frost Shield in an area which can consume energy shield over a period, gaining stages which make it more powerful. The shield absorbs a portion of incoming damage and increases your chances to deal critical strike. So okay, you can place it to deal to have higher crit chance or something, like that's the biggest use. So you place it before a boss and you take slightly less damage, and consumes energy shield. Can it does it consume your energy shield, or like anybody who's in it? Like, can it like damage the energy shield of the enemies? I don't know. We'll have to see how it works in practice or see the gem. New Splitting Steel. Okay, the Splitting Steel skills I'm not that interested in. They might end up being really cool and really good, like projectile skills, but we don't know yet. We'll have to see them. Sigil of Power causes your skills to consume more mana, but deal added lightning damage while you stand within it. Enemies within the area deal reduced damage. Cool for bossing. Like all these skills seem like this would be something that a bossing character would use, so that's very interesting. Flame Wall as well. Then we've got Hex Blast. We don't know still how the Hex, like how the Doom stuff will work. Deals scales damage to a targeted enemy. If the enemy is hexed, it will remove the hex, dealing more damage based on the amount of Doom and hex, and dealing damage in an area around the enemy. This is very complicated. We'll have to see it in practice. The cool thing about it is that it might be like a single target. It might be like a nice single target or like hit-based chaos spell, which we have not had. There was previously no way of doing like 100%, or I mean, there were some ways, but there was no easy way of doing like 100% chaos damage hits from spells. So that is something really interesting. We'll be able to do that, and therefore also use poison on skills that previously were not possible to use with poison. One thing that I'm excited for actually is Flame Blast. Yeah, Flame Blast, the pizza ring that you do. You'll be able to convert it 100% to chaos now with the alternative quality version that converts like I think 40%. And then you have like 30% from one dagger, 30% from another dagger. There are unique daggers that give you like 30% fire to chaos conversion. And that means 100% conversion. And then also new passives that I'll show you in a moment work with this pretty well. Impending Doom, I'm not really interested in all the hex stuff. I'm not going to be playing that. But the cool thing about curses that I am interested in, that I might try, I'll skip to it in a moment, but are the marks, right? Other than that, there are the 28 new unique items, including one designed by a supporter. Then we have 11 new divination cards, 90 new unique replica items. Those are going to be really cool. 800 alternate quality variants of existing support skill gems. Some of them will be like game changing. Some of them do absolutely nothing. And it's just like, instead of more damage, you get more attack speed. Who cares? But for some skills, that is going to be more significant than for others. Added a vendor recipe for a special support gem. Good luck. Huh. I wonder what is that? I mean, this has to be something with curses probably, right? So maybe it's like blasphemy or something. Like maybe you can, or maybe mines. Maybe there is one for mines. Blast chain mine. Imagine if there was something for that, so you can do it for less than spending a transmutation early on. That would be PogChamp. Okay, now we have minor content and features. So the following skills have received visual update. Lightning Strike, Firestorm. The Firestorm looks pog, but someone did analysis on Reddit of the actual damage, and it potentially deals less damage. However, if the AoE overlaps more, maybe it deals more, so it's still inconclusive. Ice Storm from the Whispering Ice, Caustic Arrow. Caustic Arrow, that's gonna be interesting how it looks like. The skill is like, on one hand, I really like how clearly it looks. On the other hand, yeah, it does look kind of old. Smoke Mine, that's interesting. We'll see that for sure. Discharge and all curses. Okay. Permanent minions such as golems, zombies, animated guardians are now saved when you log out. This is amazing. Quality of life change. This should be in for sure. It was stupid that you had to resummon all the zombies and stuff. So now you can actually level with zombies early on, and you're not punished for having like, you know, relog to get back to town and stuff like that. So this is amazing. So summoner leveling might be definitely like much stronger and faster now. Divination cards that award an item with an Elder Slayer influence now have special background effects. That's cool. A few torches will now light your way to Lion's Watch. Improved Atlas influence visuals. Improved performance. Adjustments to brightness. Improved effects calling across many skills. And effect calling. Okay, effects calling. This is the thing that when you have multiple overlapping effects that create like pixels in the same area, the ones that don't do anything actually for the visuals will not be rendered, improving the performance. So that's great. So performance improved for like clusterfuck of shit, like a lot of stuff happening when you for group play. This is a buff for group play actually as well. That's really cool that they're improving the performance and sound and effects and environments. This is all not to be underestimated. Like basically the whole fucking game is improved in so many ways, but it's just like a couple of little lines, but they definitely deserve a lot of credit for that. Character balance, projectiles have been reworked, so this is cool because you have things like returning projectiles from The anointment, let me show you where it is. So we have, where is it here? Vengeance Cascade. Attack projectiles return to you from the final target, and returning projectiles pierce all targets. So there are some interactions that this new change will buff. For example, if you're using like a basically the point is, if you're doing like a chain and split and fork and all of that stuff, if one happens and then the next happens that is in order, it will still attempt to do the other ones. Like, let's say if you like chain and pierce, let's say you chain one time and pierce one time or whatever, or maybe like you gain pierce when you return or something, you will like basically gain more benefit from all of these effects. And this is kind of a buff. I feel like they have been testing a lot of the Lancing Steel or whatever the new steel skills, and they are based on a lot of like forking, splitting, piercing projectiles, and I feel like this is what prompted this change, so that's why they improved that. That's really, really nice. Maybe there'll be something cool with these steel skills and different projectile stuff. Many modifiers to the effects and duration of chill, shock, such as increased effect of shock, now also affect brittle and sap. Okay, so if we do something like shock, 10% increase chance to freeze, shock, and ignite, so that doesn't affect it. Critical strike, increased effect of lightning ailments. That's it. This is it. So instead of 15% increased effect of shock, this is 15% increased effect of lightning ailments, which includes the brittle one, right, or something like that. So that's really cool. This is really, really good. Elemental damage. Maybe this also should say that. Increased duration of elemental ailments. No, this would already apply to that. But that's a small change. That's just like a quality of life for like the alternative ailment builds. What else do we have? Intensify now has maximum of 3 stacks from 4. Intensity. And 3 of 4. I wasn't playing with Intensify, so I don't know exactly what the change does and what are the effects of that, but I'm sure that has to do something with the new skills and how they are redesigning the gameplay. Removed concept of visibility to enemies. Now we have stealth. Okay, stealth. This is something for like delving, like fast delving with phase run and avoiding monsters hitting you. That's what it was used for, as far as I know. I don't know any other uses for that, but I'm not sure exactly what does that change. They're just renaming it, and don't know, maybe some other effects will be introduced later for that. Maybe it has to do with trying to not be noticed while sneaking in Heist or something like that. So you can use like phase run to not trigger the alert or something. Skill reworks, curse skills. So curses are now, here's TLDR, because I read it before. I'll tell you what you need to know about curses. Basically, curses now is the overarching, like the umbrella term for hexes and marks. They divided curses into 2 different things. So now, forget everything you know about curses. Curses is just a name for hexes and marks. So hexes are all of these, like you apply them to the area and you cast them, and it's like reduce monsters' elemental resistances, or slow them down, like, or like weaken them, like enfeeble, right? All of that stuff, those are gonna be curses. And then marks are more like attack-based stuff, like Warlord's Mark, Sniper's Mark, Poacher's Mark, Assassin's Mark. So those are like for the attacks that increase enemies take more damage from these attacks, or life gain on hit, or take more crit damage and stuff like that, right? And marks are not hexes. So hex-proof monsters will now have a very, very different behavior. So hexes will have no effect on hexproof monsters. However, they will be still applied. So if you have a hexproof monster, you will still apply the hex to it, which is a type of a curse, the hex. You will apply it, but it will have no effect. It will not reduce their resistances or whatever. However, marks are applied, and also their effect is still perfectly working on the hexproof monsters. So hexproof monsters are not curse immune now. They are hex immune, not curse immune, right? Because marks are the other types of curses that they're not immune to. And another thing about marks is that now the marks have 100% effectiveness on bosses. And because they are still curses, if they are not careful with curse effect, right? So let's see, curse effect, okay. So we still have curse effect, effect of curses. Hexes you inflict have more doom. 20% increased damage with hits and ailments against cursed enemies, includes marks. Here we have increased effect of curses, Occultist still has increased effect of curses. 15% increased effect of curses as well here in Malediction, very big. So what you can do right now, potentially, is make a attack-based Occultist that will stack all of these marks. You will have like 3 different marks. You have to just figure out some kind of an attack that will have projectiles that will fit most of these. And you will have insane curse effectiveness, and you will be able to scale the damage to be viable on bosses as well. This is the first time we can do that, because before that, and still the case with hexes for now, they are only 33% effective on bosses, right? Because they have like 66% reduced effectiveness on bosses, which means that every single percentage that you pick up for curse effect is actually just 0.33% increased curse effect, and or even worse, like it's really bad. So hex builds for bosses are still probably going to be shit, like focusing on curse effectiveness for hexes, but focusing on curse effectiveness for marks will now be actually perfectly fine for bossing. So this is a really cool change that I'm excited, and I might try something with that. So meme builds that I want to try for now are, that's mark build, like mark stacking occultist, that's one of them with curse effectiveness, and then another one is Chaos Pizza, and I'll explain Chaos Pizza in a moment. So what else do we have? Character balance. Okay, skill reworks, the steel skills. I don't care about that much. I'm not gonna be probably trying the steel skins. They seem really boring to me. So unless they are extremely strong, I'm probably not gonna be using them. Firestorm, I already talked about Firestorm. Glacial Cascade. So Glacial Cascade seems like the final spike now deals 200% more damage, which means you want to aim the final spike at the enemy, which means self-casting is incentivized over like totems or mines, because you get way more damage if you hit accurately the enemies. Knocks enemies back on hit. That's really cool, I guess, or maybe really bad, who knows. The knockback, what would it work for? I'm not sure, because knockback is good for bleeding, for example, because it makes the enemies move and they take more damage, but with elemental skill I'm not sure what it does. So the good thing is they reduced cast speed by 0.1 seconds, which it's actually significant. The damage is similar. Everything is similar except for the 100% conversion now instead of 50% conversion, so it's easier to start out with this and better for self-casting, has the knockback and faster cast speed. So for mines it might be good, but I think there are better skills for mines. Discharge is buffed to deal an insane damage. The thing with Discharge is that it has a cooldown now. You can get a threshold jewel that lowers the damage but removes the cooldown, or like lowers the cooldown. Or you can stick with this insane damage, and I'm like pretty much 100% sure that we will see a build that uses Discharge. Maybe even like a conversion build that converts the damage from other charges. That would be an insane thing. Like imagine the ignite from that when you convert the cold damage to fire and the lightning damage to cold, and you do like one giant discharge ignite, you will be one-shotting bosses. Like I'm 100% positive we will see a build that is very easy to make, not very expensive, that will use discharge and maybe some conversion and will one-shot bosses, like Awakener 8 one-shot. That's with Discharge, 100%. It's not even a question. It's not even close. You will be able to one-shot multiple Awakeners. Like this is going to be crazy. And they also are increasing the AoE, which means you just put on the threshold jewel and you go mapping. Like that's as long as you can generate the charges. So that seems kind of crazy. Discharge is definitely making a comeback, and it's definitely going to be a part of some crazy powerful build. Then we have punishment, hit by, I don't know, I don't care really about that. We have vitality. Vitality is now kind of buffed to have like flat regeneration. which will be pretty big. Not sure how useful this will be, but probably it will be stronger than it was before based on their testing and based on what people were saying. It seems like it's going to be a little bit stronger now, but I still probably don't care about it. Like unless you really need recovery and that's the only thing that your build needs and it has everything else but you can't get recovery, then sure. Lightning Trap, Glacial Hammer, Val, Glacial Hammer, Ice Shot, Lightning Arc are all of these skills, okay. And Storm, but now each also affect the alternate versions of their corresponding elemental ailments. Okay, so like they had like freeze chance or a shock chance or shock effect, and now it will also affect brittle and the other things, right? The other ailments. That's cool. Only gems which are curses will now have the curse gem tag. All hexes and marks. Skills which interact with hexes and or marks will have the hex and or mark tag, but will not have the curse tag. Bane, for example, has the hex tag, but not the curse tag, as it is not a curse. As a result, modifiers to curse skill gems will not affect skill gems like Bane. That's a nerf for Bane. That's, I guess, with the curses being stronger or hexes being stronger, Bane would be too strong, so they nerf Bane that way. Okay. Specific skills. Ball Lightning. Got it. Next. Basically, Ball Lightning loses a lot of AoE, which means you need to scale way more AoE than before. And or have way less projectile speed, and we were already scaling AoE and projectile speed. We were already anointing reduced projectile speed, running slower projectile gem, having AoE from like Arcane Expanse, having AoE from Enigmatic Reach, from like the staff, things like that. And with all of that and the AoE from the Saboteur, and sometimes people also instead took AoE from this, I think. Where is it? No, it's here. Yes, AoE, increased area of effect, and increased area of effect if you detonated a mine recently. So people mix and match some different passives like that in order to achieve the maximum amount of hits per each ball lightning. But now you're gonna have to invest more, so you're losing basically like 3 passive skill points because of that nerf or something like that. And then the damage early on is reduced quite a bit, but later on is reduced by a huge amount. So like at the max level, it's reduced by a max like huge amount, just 100 less damage straight up. It's gonna be still a good skill for mines and for bossing if you invest in your character, but it's not gonna be like just a brain dead zero investment melt bosses build, right? I'm not gonna be probably playing it because I'm excited for the new skill, but it's still playable, just nowhere near as strong as before. Clarity now requires less intelligence. That's cool. Conductivity has the Doom Staff. Okay, the Doom Staff, I still don't understand it fully, but we'll see how it works out in practice. That's all of that. Enduring Cry no longer grants a minimum of 1 endurance charge, so you need at least 1 monster next to you in order for Enduring Cry to gain the minimum endurance charges, and the cooldown is 8 seconds instead of 6 seconds. If you're getting cooldown reduction for your war cries, that cooldown reduction is actually more effective now. So it's actually even better to get the cooldown reduction if you've been getting it before. Flammability, curses applied by casting this spell now gain 10 doom per second. Now causes hexed enemies to have 25% chance to be ignited at all gem levels. Okay, well, I'm probably using Elemental Focus early on, so I don't care that much about it, I guess, but that's cool. Phase Run grants the stealth now. Okay, Precision requires no strength anymore. What else do we have? Val Skill Rebalance. Okay, this is instead of reduced damage taken, you gain percentage to maximum resistances in order to avoid people abusing it and reaching like 100% reduced damage taken from an element and being immune to it. What else do we have? Awakened Curse on Awakened Curse on Hit support now only supports Hex Curse skill gems. Now grants the supported Hex a chance for it to affect Hexproof enemies. Okay. So Curse on hit. Okay. This is interesting. I wonder what they will do to rare items and the hexes. So this is in order to avoid this being too strong, because the marks are 100% effective on bosses, so you don't want to have like a super easy way to apply all of the marks. But that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Curse on hit now only affects hex curse skills. This would be important if I was using marks, but fortunately I'm gonna use a hex because flammability is a hex, right? Let's see. Flammability. Yeah, it's a hex. Flammability is a hex, and I'm gonna be using that in my Wave of Conviction setup. So Wave of Conviction, Curse on hit, Flammability. Spell Slinger nerfed. It just has increased cooldown, so it doesn't trigger as often. And then it has also bigger mana reservation at the early levels, so it's weaker for leveling. Passive skill tree bounce. So we have some new things that are affecting the curses on the skill tree. The one thing that I'll show you that I am actually interested in using is this part, I think. 25% increased chaos damage, 20% increased effect of withered, and 0.2% of chaos damage leached as energy shield. I feel like I might be able to pull off a Flame Blast Chaos build with poison. So basically I would play Flame Blast. What? Actually, Pathfinder maybe, right? No, but this still doesn't qualify as a Chaos skill gem. Because the thing is, when you kill a poisoned enemy, nearby enemies are poisoned. This is really cool. The fact that Chaos skills have 50% increased area of effect, and that skill will not have, unless it does have. No, I don't think it has a Chaos tag, but Flame Blast basically has now like an alternate quality version that you can find from the Heist that allows you to convert it to Chaos damage with the use of a couple of more items. So you can actually use a Flame Blast as a Chaos skill and then use Poison instead of Ignite and do something like that. Physical damage, gain physical damage as extreme random element. No, maybe this is not good. This just gives you like some increased chaos damage and poison proliferation, but maybe we don't need that. But I'm sure there's a way to make like a really cool poison pizza build. So this is something that I might look into. Maybe occultist as well. That could be cool. And then there was another change, I think. No, that's pretty much it. Like, they have this Doomsday for the hexes and stuff. I'm definitely not gonna be doing the hexes. It seems really boring to me. The gameplay looked very slow and tedious. Maybe it will be strong, but I don't think it looks just really bad. It looks slow, it looks clunky. I don't like it. I'm definitely sticking to mines. And by the way, this is the passive skill tree that I'm probably going to be using for leveling. And here is the brilliant part about it. From level 12, or as soon as I get transmutation orbs, I can use Arc for leveling, or I can use Blazing Salvo, and it's all exactly, the only point is here. I might take Lightning Walker if I'm using Arc, and I might take Fire Walker if I'm using Blazing Salvo, or I might just not take it at all, you know, and take something else instead. That's the only difference. That's the only change in the build that you need to make. If I need to get some lightning damage, where we go, lightning damage. If I need to get some fire damage, I'm right here next to the fire damage. And then later, when I play energy shield based, I'm gonna be pathing here, so I'll be able to pick up these fire nodes and these fire nodes if I really want. So it's gonna be freaking awesome. So this build is fully compatible with Blazing Salvo, and I even pick up phase acrobatics and stuff like that to maybe try to not die too much. So Blazing Salvo is going to be available from level 12. I guess I can show you quest rewards. Blah 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 blah. Blazing Salvo is now offered to the Witch and Templar for completing the Siren's Cadence. Might be strong for Templar. Might be strong with totems as well, and can be purchased from Nessa by the Shadow and Scion. So this is really cool. The one thing I'm wondering about Blazing Salvo, so it really depends on the cast speed. I hope I don't hope, it doesn't really matter, but if it has really good cast speed, then of course self-casting might be very powerful. If it has really slow cast speed, then mines are just gonna be the perfect way to play it. Totems also are benefiting from the cast speed, so mines just don't care about the cast speed, so that's one variable that we can ignore if we go mines. The cast speed, right? Because we're just dumping the mines. So it feels like it's gonna be really, really strong based on like how mechanically it works. Okay, so where were we? We were at passive 3 balance. Okay, we talked about that. Then we have Ascendancy balance, so basically Assassin is nerfed. They get a little bit less crit multi for this node, Deadly Infusion. Assassin just gets a little bit less damage because it's like the most popular build in softcore. Everybody who doesn't know how to play the game and how to make a build just plays Assassin Cock and basically just uses the super generic cookie cutter build. So it's the most popular thing. Second most popular thing, Necro. And of course, Necro is also nerfed, and as well as the Necro node on the Ascendant. Item balance. So they are changing stuff with the hexes and curses, and also changing stuff with the tags. The one really cool thing is that faceted fossils now increase the likelihood of rolling all gem related modifiers rather than only modifiers to socketed gem levels. This means +1, global +1 to gems with the fossils will be now very easy to get. This is a crazy buff for crafting with fossils. This is really, really nice. Items which apply a curse to an enemy no longer specify a level and instead have a set magnitude for their values and a fixed amount of doom. This is like, I have no fucking clue how the hell the doom thing works yet, but we'll see. Items which trigger a mark on hit now only do so when hitting rare and unique enemies, which when hitting. That's so weird though. That is so weird. On one hand, yeah, you don't really care about having more damage on white mobs, and you only care about like boosting your damage to the maximum against the uniques and the rares. However, because of what the marks actually do, if you look at the marks, where are they? Let's see. Firestorm, let's say Warlord's mark, right? Hits against cursed enemies now have 40% chance to double stun duration. Cursed enemies now grant rage. So yeah, like sustaining rage, life and mana leech. I guess you have other ways to do it, but there are certain things like life on hit and stuff like that. I guess this is. Yeah, cursed enemies now have 100% chance to grant a frenzy charge when slain. Does it give like a chance to gain frenzy charge on hit? Yes, it does. Okay, never mind. They kind of rebalanced them. Fine. Okay, if they are gonna rebalance them to do stuff on hit, then that's cool. But this is I guess so that you can still use it from other sources. All right, I'm okay with it. I guess I'm okay with it since they rebalanced it and added stuff that are the effects on hit. Okay, that's perfectly fine then. For that, what else is there? Item balance. A life regen is increased, so we got a bunch of more life regen. That is like flat life regen, and that's nice. Lab enchant for vitality buffed. Lancing steel enchants buffed, I guess, or something, or changed to work with the new skills. Glacial Cascade conversion now is replaced with fizz damage added as extra cold damage. That's really nice. That's really nice. That's a little bit of a buff for Glacial Cascade, but that's an enchant, so again, that's when you're like min-maxing the build. Okay, what else do we have? Cluster Jewels. This is another nerf for Cluster Jewels. Vicious Bite, so that was for minions, like minions that with crit had insane damage, so that is being nerfed. That's fine, I guess, but it's weird that they're nerfing Cluster Jewels that are already so hard to obtain. But I guess they don't want the strongest ones of them to be like the only option for like boosting damage. I guess the minion damage was kind of ridiculous with the crit. Unique items, a bunch of unique items changes, mostly to like reflect and adjust the other changes that they did, such as like the ailments, you know, like Storm Charger, the Riani Fist now grant increased lightning ailment instead of increased effect of shock to affect the brittle or whatever, the other effects like that. So that's cool. Monster changes, so Redemption Sentries are nerfed. That's nice. Then we have bosses no longer reduce the effect of marks on them. That's a huge change. Another change is like the wheelie boys and cannibals are stronger and deal more damage, and they can be affected better by like the rare monsters or magic modifiers, right? So they're gonna be crazy. We're gonna die in the early acts. Hardcore is gonna be fun when people get one shot by the wheelie boys. Atlas changes, so maps have been shuffled, but the strategy is all the same. Zana mods, though, this is something very interesting that I'm gonna talk about. So Delirium costing 16 Chaos Orbs. People are saying that this is crazy amount of Chaos. Nope, this is actually maybe even too low amount of Chaos, because if you can guarantee getting Delirium on whatever map you want, that means you can fucking juice it like crazy. You can do the most crazy juiced map, and you can, even if you're not juicing really hard, but you're like, you know, just doing like regular normal juicing, you can get like, let's say 30-40 splinters from a good map, because of course you will only pick a good map to run it on, and that means you already made money on this. Like, you by default you already made money on this if you just run a well-juiced map. So this is perfectly fine. Blight, couldn't care less. I don't like Blight. Beyond, that's really nice. Beyond, a league with Beyond is always nice. Nemesis, that's nice. Bloodlines, I really like Bloodlines for early mapping because it's a very safe mod and it doesn't slow you down at all. It's just more magic monsters. It's really nice. I like it a lot. Dominations with shrines is also nice. Abyss if you want to farm something specific. This is a very nice set of Zana mods. Very nice. Blight towers have been buffed, like a bunch of them have been buffed a lot. I guess that's good. People, it doesn't matter that much because people who know how to use them properly AFK Blight maps anyway, and people who don't will have an easier time now, so I guess that's fine. Delve changes, the Legion is now restricted to higher levels. Some UI improvements, quest rewards, PvP changes, we don't care really about PvP, bug fixes, out of bug fixes, and that's it. Very excited for it. Probably going to start with Blazing Salvo, just gonna do the regular leveling, just like I have in the videos that I released, just like in that series, except instead of using Arc, I'm gonna be using Blazing Salvo. And instead of crafting lightning damage on my wands with a lightning resist ring, I'm going to be crafting fire damage on my wands with a fire resist ring. And that's pretty much it. That's the only change that's going to happen to the build. And I think Blazing Salvo might be freaking insane. It might be so good, but depends on the numbers, right? We don't care about the cast speed. We don't care that much about AoE because I've seen it on the video and it looks really nice. The only thing we care about is the actual damage. However, I feel like the leveling early on will be very strong because when you are using this skill, you are getting multiple hits on the same target that each added damage. Of course, the effectiveness of added damage, because this is AoE skill with multiple projectiles, is not gonna be crazy, right? It's not gonna be, you know, like 200% damage effectiveness. It might be like 30% damage effectiveness or something. I don't know. It might be lower, which means like if you have like 100 added damage, you actually just only get 30 per hit. But these hits overlap, and if you get like 5 of them, that means you're getting 150% damage effectiveness. That already makes it better than Arc for a single target, I think, right? If we can confirm, I might confirm that, I might not, but I'll see before the league. I'll actually see the gems and see if they say any numbers of them, and if we can like do some preliminary math and see if it's gonna be worth it. But I think that the Blazing Salvo is gonna be very strong. So if you are interested in starting with Blazing Salvo mines or testing them, you just need one transmutation early on to test it. You just buy the transmutation, and at any point, as long as the gem is leveled, you swap it out. It should be a blue gem probably. They say intelligence gem, so it was blue. And you just swap it out. Your build does not change. Early on when I'm leveling, that's not actually what I'm gonna do. I'll post this in the description of the video, by the way, if you're interested. This is a current version of the POB community fork. So the early leveling goes a little bit differently, because I'll probably go like, instead of a crit early on, and instead of this, what you do actually is you just go like here. Then you go these two, that's your level 10 around the Brutus fight, right? Maybe if you're at level 9, you do this, level 10, then you're doing this, then you're doing this, then you're picking up this life so that you pick up the strength for Wave of Conviction. Then you're going for this life, then you're going for Mine, Clever Construction, then you're going for High Explosives for crazy damage. Then you might be going to here for power charges, so you might go for like this critical strike, not traps, mines. Where are the mines? Wait a minute. Traps and mines. Okay. They're going like this. Then you might go like this. Then you might go like this. After that, where are we? I think this is fine. After that, you might pick up some extra life here. You might pick up this whenever you need some extra life. And then basically you're going to crit multi. You might pick up this. You might pick up this life. Go to the crit. Go to the life. Go to this life and regen. Go to the, go to here, to the Templar area, which is freaking broken. Then go to here. Penetration. Divine Judgment. And then you adjust from there. You can pick up Firewalker if you're using the Fire skill, or Lightning Walker if you're using the Lightning skill, right? There is also a cool node, but I'm not sure if this is worth, because this node is horrible. So you have increased fire damage here. Here you have increased fire damage and crit multi, which is a nice node. This is a nice node to pick up. And here you have a great node, which is 30% crit, 10% fire and cold res, and 30% fire damage increase. So this might be something that we pick up if we are playing Blazing Salvo, the Snowforge. That's a really good node. So depending on how our points go and how efficient this early point and this is, but I think this is probably worth it. Yeah, so that's basically it. Also, while you're leveling, might pick up this. It's a very strong point early on, the 14% increase mine damage. And then you're going for more crit and so on. And you're like going for this crit, and you're switching to this and respecking from these weaker nodes, like all the travel nodes and stuff. But yeah, so that's basically it. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.